there are new charges filed in the Jerry Sandusky case. Not against Jerry, but against some of the other people who were involved. Specifically, the former president of Pennsylvania State University, Graham Spanier, the former athletics director, Tim Curley, and the former vice president of Penn State, Gary Schultz. Ryan, what are the new charges?
So, as you might know, Kelly, there are already charges pending against Schultz and Curley for lying to a grand jury, and their case is still pending. Now, what's happened this week is new charges have been filed against them, as well as charges for the first time against Spanier, who is the former president of the university. This is all part of what prosecutors are saying is a web of lies, a conspiracy amongst all the top players at the university to cover up the horrible, horrible acts of Jerry Sandusky. So the new charges against Schultz and Curley are for endangering child welfare, for obstruction, as well as for conspiracy.
What are they basing the conspiracy on? Are they basing it on the Free Report, which was released several months ago, or are they basing it on new documents? Do we know that from the indictment?
From the indictment, we can't tell so far. It's based on new documents that have been released, so there is new evidence that is coming out, but a lot of this all falls back on the Free Report, which said initially that there is this conspiracy amongst the top players at the university. Now, it's not a surprise, of course, that the president's being implicated in this. It doesn't seem logical to file charges for obstruction or for conspiracy against the vice president and the athletic director when the president is involved. So it's no shock that it goes all the way to the top.
Well, and I think it's also interesting that when you're talking about these kind of institutions and institutional behavior, it does start at the top and work its way down, not the other way.
There's also a system of accountability as well, where you have an athletic director and you have a vice president. They're responsible to report to the president as well. So the president's awareness is, if not direct, it's at least implied that he was aware of these acts that were going on at the university.
Well, and likewise, the president has a duty to be aware of what's happening under his own roof. And I think if I recall correctly from the Free Report, there were emails circulating through all of these men, with Curley, with Spanier, and with Schultz, where they were talking about this. So they were able to link all three of these men via email to Jerry Sandusky. They all knew that something was happening. And I guess now that prosecutors have amassed enough evidence to be able to put together a conspiracy charge saying that they were all conspiring to obstruct justice and to basically allow or tacitly condone, as horrible as that may sound, Jerry Sandusky's actions with these disadvantaged children. I mean, it really is shocking. Here are these people at the very highest levels of their careers who are turning a blind eye to despicable behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the people that are entrusted with the welfare of children to begin with, or for young adults at least.
Very
for shaping young minds. If that's your primary responsibility, the idea that they could let this sort of conduct go, that they could put the reputation of their university ahead of child welfare, is disturbing to say the least. And it's sort of interesting to me that it's taken this long to get these charges out there. At least charges of perjury, which apparently now they have enough evidence to show that during the grand jury testimony that all three of these men lied. But the endangering child welfare charge seems to be pretty straightforward.
It's true. That does seem to be the kind of thing they would have been able to charge these men with from the get-go and when they charged Sandusky himself. But I really think, Ryan, that part of what was happening is just that college town culture that they have out there in Pennsylvania, where they're just not going to drag, I mean, these are the pillars of the community, and they're not going to drag these people down unless they know they have an ironclad case.
What it seems like now is that the prosecutors had really put all of their focus on putting Sandusky away as quickly as possible and getting that taken care of. They did that. He's in jail for most likely the rest of his life. He's in prison for the rest of his life. So now they're diverting their attention to the other players in this, so sort of tie this whole package up in a nice little bow. Now that they have the resources and the time, they can now push and pursue these other trials.
I think that's right. And I hope that the victims of the Jerry Sandusky scandal have seen justice now with these new allegations against the former president, former vice president, and former athletics director of the Penn State University.